This is Derrick Broze with Mint Press News. I'm here in New York City at the 9/11 Justice in Focus Symposium, and I'm speaking with the one, the only, Daniel Sheehan. How are you doing?
Great.
Meeting him for the first time, but let's let the audience know before we get into what we're talking about today. Give them a little bit of your background. Obviously, you've worked on the Pentagon Papers, Iran-Contra, a number of high-profile cases.
Yeah.
Who are you, and how did you get here today?
Who am I? Well, I'm Daniel Sheehan. I graduated from Harvard College in 1967, Harvard Law School in 1970. Went to work for the #1 corporate litigation law firm on Wall Street, Cahill Gordon, Sonnet, Rindell and Ohl. Went from there to F. Lee Bailey's office. During that course, I initiated the case that established the right of journalists to protect their confidential news sources in the Supreme Court. Helped do the Pentagon Papers case for the New York Times. Established the case, Eisenstadt versus Baird that declared unconstitutional, prohibiting unmarried people from getting access to birth control information. Went to F. Lee Bailey's office, was there when we did the Watergate burglary case. We represented James McCord, who was the former CIA wiretapping specialist on the Watergate burglary crew that blew the whistle on Richard Nixon. Went from there to went back to Harvard Divinity School. Did 2 years of my PhD work there, and then got recruited to be the chief counsel for the United States Jesuit headquarters, national office in Washington, D.C., in the social ministry. We did the Karen Silkwood case from there. We represented the American Sanctuary Movement defendants down in Texas. And we did the big Iran-Contra case. We also represented the people that were shot down by the Klan and Nazis down in Greensboro, North Carolina. Won a big federal civil rights lawsuit against them, and went on to do the first degree murder defense for Mayor Eddie Carthan, the first elected black mayor down in Mississippi, and a whole bunch of other cases.
So I would think that anybody listening to this is aware then that you have the credentials, you have the background to look at the 9/11 attacks from a legal perspective.
Yes, that's right.
How did you find your way into this event and this movement now to as we shift to the 15th anniversary and the focus becomes how can we take this into a civil trial or a criminal trial? How did you find yourself involved in these events?
Well, they called me. The people that are on the lawyers committee for 9/11 investigation called me and asked me if I would come and counsel them. They're trying to put together a group of 6 or 8 lawyers that have like a public interest law firm, try to go forward to figure out what they have to do. And they've considered, one of them referred to me as sort of the mentor for them. So they're going to be asking me questions now and then, and I'll be explaining to them how they ought to go about doing this, at least giving them my advice on that. So that's what's getting ready to happen.
So today we heard, a number of panels related to the legal aspects. I mean, it seemed like this year, I've been here for the past 5 years coming to these events. This one especially seemed to hit home with the legal aspect.
Yeah, that's right.
And we have the release of the 28 pages now. Do you feel confident, based on your experience, that there is a possibility, however slim, that a civil or criminal trial could come forth from these proceedings?
Oh yes. There's a very distinct possibility that an effective litigation can be put together on this. I mean, from a legal technical point of view, it's clear that can be. It's a question now whether they can do the adequate organizing, raise the adequate funds. The Karen Silkwood case that we did cost $6 million total over a 10-year period to do that, but we won $10.5 million in that. The Iran-Contra case cost $8 million, but we ended up getting a special prosecutor appointed, and they ended up spending another $20 million and indicted the top-level officials. And everybody knows that what we were saying in the Iran-Contra case is true. So you have to be thinking in terms of anywhere from $8 to $10 million. Eventually, it's going to take to put together all the legal experts, all the demonstration models, the expert witnesses, the professional investigators, the legal team, all the filings. I know how to do all that stuff, so I can be of counsel to them to help them on that. But I do think that there's a very distinct possibility, unto a probability, I would say, of them being able to do an effective case here.
Absolutely. Well, I think that those who've been following this story and who have questions, family members, firefighters, architects, engineers, the range of researchers, obviously lawyers, legal professionals, would probably be happy to hear the news that we've heard today, which is that there is a legal possibility.
Yes.
How can the viewers at home get involved or support these efforts?
Well, they should contact the 9/11 justiceinfocus.org and just contact them, and there'll be lots of different things that people can do. They can organize a local group in their community to have meetings. Like in the Iran-Contra case, we had, for example, Christic Institute action teams, 1,000 of them all around the country. So they can organize one of those. They can become assistants, can help do reading and research and stuff. There's lots and lots of stuff that people can do. So just get a hold of them, 911justiceinfocus.org, and then they'll get back to them to help get them to help them.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to leave the audience with as far as 9/11 goes?
Just remember that unless you do it, it ain't going to happen. But if you do decide to do it, it can happen. Because I've been there in a lot of these cases, and that's exactly how it happens.